is that number 11 Texas going at number 3 Alabama. Obviously, game in Tuscaloosa. This year, Brian Denning. Last year, the game was in Austin, and Bama won that 20-19 due to, Quinn Ewers' injury in the first half. This year, no Bryce Young for Bama, no Bijan Robinson for Texas, and I think it's a not as impressive Quinn Ewers this year, but a Texas team that's looking for revenge going into after a big loss last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. Last year was a great game. It was a shame that Quinn Ewers went out so early in last year's game because he looked unstoppable for the first couple drives. He was giving Bama's defense troubles that you just don't see that often.
Yeah, especially with how much talent was on that defensive side for Alabama.
Yeah, and he just really made them look really, really vulnerable. And I think that was the first time I looked at Alabama and I was like, something's not really right. There's something about them that they're just not playing. They're just not playing Alabama brand of football. And that was probably the first crack I started to see in Alabama. And then obviously Tennessee kind of exposed it a little bit more. And I think LSU kind of broke them a little bit last year. And they
twisted the knife.
Yeah. And that's ultimately what ended their season in not a playoff appearance.
Yeah. You're saying Alabama dynasty is over?
I don't think it's over because, if you got Nick Saban at your head coach, it's always going to give you a chance. He recruits better than almost anybody. And I'd even say he develops better than almost anybody.
Yeah. So, if we had Paul Feinbaum on the pod, he'd be saying otherwise.
Yeah,
he's throwing that out there like you lose one game, dynasty's over. It's Kirby Smart era, it's Georgia era. So not quite yet.
Well, yeah, and I think Nick Saban takes offense to all the Kirby Smart stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's keeping him up at night knowing that Georgia's had his number the last couple of years. So, I'm never going to bet against Nick Saban. He's a great coach. Probably you could argue the greatest of all time when it comes to college athletics.
Yeah.
Because his Alabama teams have just always been the gold standard.
Yeah. They always bring those trophies home and obviously looking to do that this year. They got to start off with a big win against Texas this weekend. What are you kind of seeing in this matchup this year compared to last year?
It's a weird one. Jalen Milroe got the start last week against MTSU, which was surprising to me because I thought the reason that Tyler Buckner was brought in, obviously new offensive coordinator, comes from Notre Dame, brings in the quarterback as well. I thought Tyler Buckner was going to get the start. Yeah, I thought it was going to be Tyler Buckner's team. Didn't really quite pan out that way. Jalen Milroe played. He looked good.
He looked good.
Did everything you had to do against a team of that caliber.
Yeah.
Just play smart football. Get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He played really well. I think Texas is going to give him a whole different kind of test.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to really challenge him to beat them in a multiple different ways.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to just, run the ball and plow over some people. He's going to have to, throw the ball effectively, and he's going to have to be accurate with it.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting side for the Alabama offense. And then for Texas on offense, this is probably the most hostile environment you've played in.
Oh, yeah.
Easily last year, probably even definitely this year too. So I'm interested to see how they go on the road and play. Quinn Ewers coming in. I've said he's looked better than his stats may have shown. So I'm interested to see kind of how he looks against this Alabama defense in a hostile environment on the road. He's got the help with him in Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell. And I think it's Texas time to make a statement.
Texas time.
They have to make a statement. People are tired of hearing Texas is back. People want to see it. People want to see Texas be back.
No one wants to see it more than the actual fan base because that's a very critical Longhorn fan base. I mean, if they lose tomorrow or they lose on Saturday, I'm going to be nervous for, the feedback they're going to be getting from their own fan base. So hoping, potentially for a Texas win in for that. But who do you got winning this one? It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Alabama at home, betting against Alabama is obviously a bad road to go down for starters. I believe I picked Texas last year to win an upset game at home. Almost pulled off the upset.
Probably should have.
Yeah.
Let's keep that in mind. They probably should have won that. They probably would have won that game if Quinn Ewers didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I almost looked like a genius.
Yeah.
Almost looked like the smartest dude on the internet.
Yeah.
But Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama at home. I think if Jalen Milroe does his job, I don't think he has to do anything spectacular. I think if he does his job, runs the offense the way it needs to be ran. This is also a big test too for the new OC. Coming from Notre Dame, Tommy Rees. So that's going to be interesting too, but I think Alabama will get it done. I think Texas didn't show me anything that wowed me against Rice. I think eventually pulled away, got the job done. But I think Alabama's going to win. And I think it's going to be another thriller.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
I think it's going to be low scoring too. I don't think it's going to be, one of those kind of back and forth type of games. I think it's going to be a team's going to have the ball probably down 3 with maybe a couple minutes to go, and it's going to see who makes the play.
Yeah. So you got Bama,
but I got Bama in a close one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Alabama needs to eliminate some of those small mistakes that they made last year that cost them, key games. We're talking about Tennessee, when they muffed a punt. Well, he tried to go pick up the punt when the ball was on the ground, resulted in a turnover. And then we're talking about, Bryce Young literally having to take over the game to barely beat Texas last year. So I think they just need to eliminate those mistakes and those mental errors. And then, like you said, Jalen Milroe, just go out there and, do what you got to do to be able to win this football game. But I don't think you can pick against a top 5 team at home, because they don't lose. Like, top 5 teams don't lose at home, especially not Alabama. I think the last time Alabama lost at home was Joe Burrow, 2019. I think so. And it was a historic season, probably one of the best college football teams in the history of the game. So yeah, it's just so hard to bet against Alabama at home. So I'm not going to. I'm going to pick Alabama to win this one.
Well, yeah, and I think something that isn't really talked about a lot is it was 2 plays that decided Alabama's season last year.
Yeah.
It was the game-winning field goal and the 2-point, no, not the 2-point conversion, the touchdown in overtime. Or was it 2-point conversion?
It was a 2-point conversion that LSU won on.
Yeah, so it's like, if both those plays go their way,
they're in the playoff. They could be a national champion.
They could have been 15-0 and won the national championship.
It's a game of inches. It just goes to show, it's a game of inches, and small things can go a long way. So, but yeah, we both got Alabama. It should be a thriller though. Excited for
No, yeah. Steve Sarkisian is trying to become the 3rd assistant coach to beat Saban.
Really?
I think only 2 have done it. Only 2 have done it. Yeah,
that's crazy. Crazy.
I could only name one. I can't name the other.
Yeah, don't fact check. Sure. Don't fact check him on that. But
I know that. Kirby. I know that stats for sure. True,
okay. You just don't know the assistant coach.
I don't know the other one. I know it's coach. Kirby. I'm trying to think. I don't know if Dabo was ever an assistant for him. That'd be my guess though. Is Dabo, but I don't know if Dabo was ever an assistant.
Yeah, we'll have to check that. But yeah, he's going to Steve Sark. Going for that 3rd assistant coach to beat Nick Saban.